Hey everyone, I'm Todd Banner. Welcome to my channel. Somebody had asked me in a comment previously about any customizations that I do to the custom function buttons on the Lumix G9, and so I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today, and also show some video footage of kite surfers at Montrose Beach. We actually had some big surf for Lake Michigan, 8 feet. So kite surfers came out, so that was pretty cool. So back to custom function buttons. The two that I have modified are custom function buttons 4 and 5. Custom button 4 is the top button on the front of the camera between the grip and the lens mount, and custom button 5 is the one below that. And so the main thing is that I have the IS lock function mapped to custom button 4. Custom function button 4. I also have the constant preview function lock set to custom function button 5, which is the bottom button. I'm not going to talk so much about that. But the reason I have that set up that way for IS lock is IS lock is a setting that they added, that Panasonic added to the GH5 and the G9, and the G95 has it as well. And essentially what it does is, if you're taking a static video handheld, it locks down the sensor using the image information. So I shouldn't say it locks it down, but it stabilizes the sensor using the image information. And it's amazingly good. It's close to being on a tripod. You can't use it when you're panning. So therefore I have that mapped to custom function button 4, so I can really easily, if I'm shooting a static scene, a heron who's sitting on a log and starts to walk, I can really quickly toggle that off. It means there's going to be a little bit of a jerk when you do that, but you can always put a cross dissolve there. So you find IS lock in the video menu. So if you go to the main menu on the camera, and right below the little camera icon you see a movie camera icon, and you click on that and you just go down to stabilizer, and you go into that menu, and you'll find three things. And IS lock is at the bottom. Right above that is electronic stabilization, and above that is a setting called operation. And when you click on that, you're going to see two icons. One's just a hand, and one's a hand with an up and down arrow. That actually applies to stills only. But I didn't realize this, but I found that just recently in the manual. So that has no bearing on the other settings. So that also shows up in stabilizer function for the stills camera setting. So what that does, if you're shooting stills, is if you're going to pan, that little up-down arrow setting makes the stabilization ignore any side-to-side movement, which, if you're panning, things are moving side to side, so you don't want it really paying attention to that. I haven't really noticed that it makes that much of a difference, but I haven't thoroughly tested it. But back down that menu to the electronic stabilization, I leave that turned off because it's a video only setting, and what that does is it crops in on the sensor, and so you have the image floating around on the sensor, and it also is a problem if you're going to pan. It can lead to some jerkiness. Now IS lock, when you're panning, it's obvious. I mean, you get this jerk, and it's mainly because it's using the image information, and so when you pan, what it's using for information is moving out of the frame, and so it moves out of the frame and it has to jerk back. So it's real important, if you're panning while doing video, not to use that setting. To put that, to actually map that to a custom function, you just go to the menu item on the main menu with the little wrench and the C, wrench or spanner, depending on what variety of English you use. And in there you go to the operations. And when you go into that menu, the third choice down is a little dial. And you click on that, and then you're going to see function button set. And when you click on that, you're going to see setting in record mode and setting in play mode. So you can actually map two different functions to buttons if you want to, one for recording and one for playback. I haven't done that. But when you do that, you're going to see a schematic of the camera showing the buttons. And touch the function button 4, and you're going to get just a menu of choices that opens up. And you just scroll down until you find the IS locks setting and pop that in there. So that's how I've set up my G9, and it seems to work pretty well for me. The whole thing with the IS lock and panning, I discovered on my own. Then went online and looked and goes, yeah, that's a real issue. It does not work for that. Like stabilization, the electronic stabilization, I'm not sure when I would ever use that because IS lock works so well. But maybe there's some instances when people find that useful. The nice thing is these settings are available now on the G95, so that's my backup body, so it's the same type of setting for that camera. And of course the newer Lumixes, the GH5 Mark II and the GH6 are going to have that, and maybe even refined, because I imagine the GH6 is going to have an even more advanced in-body image stabilization, you would think. So here I'm going to show some stills of these kite surfers plus a board surfer during this rather high surf event at the end of July. Water was still cold then, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, probably 15 or so Celsius is that. Right now the water's warmed up. Mid-August is about when it gets fairly warm, so it's around 70 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. Trying to pan and follow these kite surfers, they're fast. It's tough. I threw away a lot of footage, so this is the best that I could do. And also I discovered trying to use a monopod for this didn't work so well. It's kind of, I don't know if it was being on the sand, but panning when these kite surfers are going by, and they're very fast, it just is hard to do. Plus, one of them was really good. I mean, this guy was an expert, and he did some jumps, I mean, I'm not sure how high, 20 feet. So if you're panning and all of a sudden the guy jumps, you gotta be able to go up, and I couldn't do that with a monopod. So I just braced myself and panned as I usually do, just turning my body. Seemed to work well once I got that down. So have a look at this, and I'll be back with a follow-up. So that was pretty cool. Well, thank you for watching. If you found this informative, interesting, please like and subscribe. Any comments, questions, please leave them below, and I will respond, answer them, and happy to answer any questions you have. And I'm working on additional content, so stay tuned, and I will see you next time.